fans, people of the interwebs. It's me, SG1, coming at you for another for another Star Trek, the official Starships collection review. This time we're doing number 89. We're on to 89 already, folks. And this time we're going to be doing the U.S.S. Enterprise NCC-1701-J, as seen in Enterprise's Azanti Prime. And as usual, you get the nice glossy magazine, which mine is a little bit bent in the corner this time round. A little bit annoyed, but you know, you can't have everything. So we get the magazine as usual, and then we get the ship itself, but more on that in a little while. So we get on to specification. I normally don't show this page, but it just says Enterprise J, which is a bit weird. So type, multi-mission explorer, affiliation, Federation, launch 26th century, length 3,618 metres, which makes it a big bastard. Crew unknown, weaponry unknown, so it's a big unknown. And then we get the beautiful CG render, which has been thrown on the internet for the last couple of years, that render. The Enterprise J existed in a timeline that was shown by Captain Archer and the time-travelling Daniels. And then we get some topographical views where nothing is pointed out at all, but then again, you know, it's a little bit weird. The Enterprise J existed in a timeline shown by Captain Archer. It was part of a temporal Cold War, and it's unclear whether it was part of the future that will come to pass. And now that's an interesting thought. I never thought of it like that, actually. This is from a possible future, not the actual future. Although Daniels told Archer that the ship they were on was the Enterprise J, the registry on the hull simply reads NCC-1701, as it did in the Constitution class. The ship commanded by Captain Pike and Kirk in the 23rd century. Yeah, that is weird. Then we've got a beautiful CG render of it there coming out of a nebula, which is really cool. So we've got design of the Enterprise J, designed by Doug Drexler, because this model had to go back to him several times to get it right. So then we've got sort of some really rough pencil drawing. Quite like this design with the nacelles on the bottom. Quite reminiscent of an Akira class, which is quite cool. Then we've got sort of as it would normally come, as it would appear, and we've got a real weird one there, which is really cool. Really strange, but kind of, you know, not... Oh, that's interesting though. It says on there, glass. What does it say? Glass like New York skyscraper at night. Oh, that's cool. So it's sort of like black but like shiny. That'd have been cool. Yeah, some interesting designs there. Obviously, they put the Enterprise NX-01 in there. You know, sort of for scale. And then we've got some more designs of it, sort of CG renders. I quite like that one. That's pretty cool. Which is basically that one, but with a saucer section on the top. You can see it sort of coming together a bit. That was in the Ship of the Line calendar back in... Oh, what year was that? It would have been 2011, I think. Altair class, that's the one. And then we've got some more CG renders of it at warp speed, which is really cool. That angle kind of looks like the Enterprise E. So it's got that sort of, you know, Enterprise look to it. And then we've got a section about Doug Drexler, about his work on Star Trek. I think he started as a makeup artist, an assistant makeup artist. And then he went to visual effects and stuff like that. And then we got on screen. The Enterprise J had less screen time than any other Enterprise, with the possible exception of Enterprise XCV-330, a ship that was only shown as a painting, as a model. The J appears in a short sequence in a single episode of Azanti Prime. We saw the exterior and a graphic that was on the wall behind Captain Archer. We didn't know the name of the captain, or we didn't see a single crew member. The Enterprise J was designed by Doug Drexler. Speculates that the J does not necessarily mean that it was the 11th starship to bear the name. It points out that it would mean that there were 4 unseen Enterprises during the 25th and 26th centuries. Of course, he had no idea how precise Daniels was when he said we'd taken Archer 400 years into the future. Totally coincidental, a drawing on the back of the Star Trek Next Generation technical manual illustrates the possible directions of Starfleet, designed many similar properties to the Enterprise J. Drexler had no memory of ever seeing this drawing. Yeah, it's proposed
All
Nova
systems
class.
are functioning within normal parameters.
Shut up. It was proposed Nova class for the Enterprise E, which is not unlike what we got, but I mean that's a bit more sort of 24th century. And then coming in issue 90, the Romulan scout ship. Oh yeah, can't wait for that. And we get that on the back. So, on to the model itself. Now, before I get onto the model, there is a couple of missions in Star Trek Online where you go and fight the Battle of Proxion 5, I think it is, in which the episode where Daniels takes Archer, you actually help the Enterprise J in a fight. And some of the ships that you see in the window, you see a Klingon Vocha class, you see a Starfleet Nova, Starfleet Prometheus, and you also see the Dauntless. You know, the alien ship designed like a Federation jet. See one of those. So you see those flying around as well in the battle, which is really cool. And I've got an Odyssey class ship, and Odyssey class ships are twice the size of a Sovereign class ship, and these fuckers are huge. I mean, my Odyssey class is about that big, you know. So anyway, onto the model itself. It's rather pretty. I think you'll agree. I love the saucer section there. I love the big lights, the big painted light section there. And the deflector dish at the front, and I think the move the deflector dish to the front there, maybe to make it look a bit more like the NX-01. So if Enterprise was the first series that you'd seen, you'd it's a future Enterprise, you know. It only existed as a graphic on the wall in the episode. But it's really nice. I love this detailing under there. Really huge windows. I like this like spinal column thing going on there, which is really nice. And look at those thin nacelles. Look how thin they are. And they've got clear plastic in them. But look how thin they are. Doug Drexler also said about when he was designing the ship, because he did there's another culture channel which you should check out. It's called Trek Yards. And they talk about ships. You know, not just they don't talk about the models of ships there, but they talk the actual ship, and they've even had Doug Drexler on talking about the ship, and he said about the nacelles, he didn't necessarily wanted to connect them; they're just kind of hovering next to it, because after all, it was the 26th century. But I mean, we've seen vessels from the 29th century, so yeah, it's really cool. I really do like it. It's weird. It's beautiful, it's skinny, it's slender, it's just a lovely, lovely thing. If you're just collecting Enterprises, then this is the one for you. You need to be buying this. And I love the fact that, you know, it's just a nice thing. And Sven Harvey on Geekology was on about if this could saucer sep. Now, how would it do it? He suggests that it sort of disengages here and slides out left or right. That's pretty cool. My theory is that so you can just make out there's a little lip on the deflector dish there. If you can so the deflector dish sort of pops open and this whole section rises up and then it flies out and then it comes back down again. So that's pretty cool. That's just a speculation. I don't know if it does that or not. We know nothing about the ship. The fact that it's a U.S.S class. And we don't know what type of weapons it has. It's probably chronoton torpedoes. It's probably got some limited time travel ability, I would guess, in this ship. As we see later on, the ships have all got time capabilities. I'm sure that this does as well. Maybe limited. Maybe it can just, instead of being able to travel through time, maybe able to beam people through time. I don't know. but it'd be cool if it could, you know, something like that. But yeah, it's just beautiful. It's just spindly. Look at those nacelles. I mean, it's a long way from the 23rd century, and you got these big bulky nacelles on there, and then you got these tiny, thin. Actually, they're not tiny; they're very long, but you know, comparatively. So we've got the 23rd century there, and then we've got the 26th century. So it's 300 years into the future, and look at the difference, which is really cool. I like it. I loves it. I think it's a really cool ship, and like I say, destroying the ISS Enterprise there. And if you are cherry picking, then this is definitely on the list to get. I like it. I mean, it is lacking detail, but that's not a what's the word I'm looking for? That's not a mark against it. Absolutely not. I just love the fact that it's very clean. It's very smooth. It's sort of like it's been poured, into a mould, kind of a thing. So there's not much panel lines in there. But some really nice Aztecing on the saucer section there. Saucer section's all metal. The rest of it's all plastic. That's no bad thing. And you got clear plastic in the nacelle there. Mine's coming off slightly, but do you know what? I think that adds to the aesthetic of this thing, because it's supposed to be weird, wonderful, and futuristic of the future. It kind of works. It's kind of like there's some separation in there, sort of invisible. I think it works for this. I really do. It's just, you can tell I'm gushing because I've got nothing. I can't help but say it. So that's me. That's the Enterprise J. It comes with a stand, and it is U.S. Enterprise NCC-1701-J, and it connects to the stand like so. Very nice indeed. So, like, share, and subscribe this videos. Give that thumbs up a big tap, and I will catch you all later for another review. Bye for now.